improving our intro.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. If you are new, welcome. Today I have Kelly Spies with us to talk about 5 things that you did not know about your homeowner insurance policy.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I have some really good tips for everybody. Things you did not know about your homeowner's policy. So one of the things that I get asked about a lot is, Kelly, the pipes under my house broke and my house flooded. Is it covered? And that's going to be a maybe. Because sometimes it's going to really depend on the policy that you have, but insurance almost never covers the plumbing itself, the actual pipes. So majority of the time, if you have a plumbing issue, most plumbing issues are wear and tear from age, majority of the time. If the plumbing goes out and there's flooding in the home, typically, the insurance will cover the water damage inside the home, so like your wallboard, your carpet, your furniture, but it won't cover the plumbing itself. So that's one of the ones I'm most commonly asked for. The other thing that I'm asked for is, Kelly, I have a pit bull. That's a big one. So there is it's called the blacklist of dogs, and that list is longer than most people think. I once wrote an article that had over 35 dogs on the list.
Really?
Yes. Most people think it's just the pit bull. It's not just the pit bull. So any dog that's on that particular insurance company's blacklist of dogs, and it's different for every company. What that coverage is essentially is animal exclusion, animal liability. If your policy excludes the animal, it does not matter what kind of animal. If it excludes it, it excludes it, and it doesn't just exclude a bite. So most people think it excludes if the animal attacks somebody. No, so you can have, I myself have an elderly mother-in-law. You can have a family member who's walking down the hallway and the dog just trips you. That's not covered. But if the person breaks an arm or needs some stitches, it's not covered if it's excluded. Animal liability means animal liability is excluded no matter what. So it doesn't just mean a bite. One of the other things that most people don't know about their homeowner's insurance is that if your belongings are inside your car, your belongings, your personal contents on your homeowner's policy is covered no matter where you take it. So you're on vacation, you're across the country, and your stuff is in your suitcase and it's on top of the bus that you decided to take through some third world country, and the monkeys get your suitcase off the top of the bus, right? Like we see those countries where they have like monkeys sitting on the roofs and things, and the monkeys come down and they steal your underwear out of your suitcase. It's covered.
So if I have my laptop with me and I go to the mall and I park it and somebody breaks in, does the homeowner's policy cover all of it, or does it just cover the contents that were stolen?
Yes.
And then you would have to contact your auto policy holder for the damage to the vehicle.
Exactly. So your auto policy is going to cover, if you've got glass coverage on your auto policy, it's going to cover the broken window or the damage to the car if they damage the door. So the auto policy is going to cover the actual break-in damage, and then whatever your contents were inside the car is going to fall under your homeowner's policy, not your auto policy. That one always throws people because they think it's their auto policy. And your auto policy typically there's a little bit of coverage for cassettes. Weird, I know. Some people are like, what's a cassette? Way back in the day, there was things called cassettes. Google that. Insurance, they still put that terminology on there, is the cassettes. So there is some small coverage on that, but any contents you leave in your car, it's covered under your home policy, because your home insurance covers your contents no matter where you are at. One of the other things that a lot of people don't know is not always covered under homeowners policies, acts of God.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yes.
I'm reading through and I'm like, acts of God. So what does that entail?
Okay, so this is where I'm gonna put my disclosure out there. I am not a licensed claim adjuster. So when it comes to the world of claims, claims adjusters are licensed just like insurance agents. So anything's claims related as an agent, I don't get too heavily into just because of the licensing things. But what I can tell you is that certain acts of God are not always covered, and again, always depends on the contract, on the policy. As an independent agent who works with many different insurance companies, every single insurance company is going to have their own contract. So that always goes without saying. Check your policy, call your agent. But acts of God. The recent storm we had blow through Merced, that was so fun.
Yeah.
The trees and the branches, like
the fences falling over. Like
yes.
I have a transaction in escrow where I'm representing the seller, and we were supposed to close like a week ago before the storm hit.
Oh.
And then one of the windows in the master suite started to leak, and the fence started to fall over, and I'm like, this was supposed to be closed already? Like, why are we having to deal with this now? So it's just one of those things, but.
Yeah, so acts of God, some carriers will have coverage for it and some won't. Now, this is kind of why I gave you my disclosure, because like using the trees, for example, if there has been a lack of maintenance, whether the tree belongs to the homeowner or whether the tree belongs to a city property or the neighbor, if there's lack of care for the tree, it might not actually fall under acts of God, because if there's negligence to taking care of the item, and it, again, talking about a tree, if the tree falls over and you've never watered it, and the tree has no root system because it's never been watered and it's
never
clear
been taken
that it's
care
been
of.
neglected, then that could fall under neglectedness and not necessarily be covered, and it might not be an act of God. Because had that tree been maintained, had it been properly fed and watered, maybe it wouldn't fall over, and that's where it's going to come. That's where the license is part
the
of the claim.
technicalities.
Yes, yes. So when it comes to acts of God, they're not always covered, and the claims adjuster is going to be the one to make the final say-so on that. But it goes back to proper maintenance. Just like, pride of ownership, when you buy a home, you want it to look nice. Maintenance is equally important, because if you fail to do maintenance on your property, you could be liable for a lawsuit should something happen. So maintain your homes, boys and girls.
Yes. To make my job easier too when you're ready to sell it.
Well, yeah, really, because we all have bills and life and things that get ahead of us, and sometimes
things get pushed off.
Yes, it's very common. My home is an older home, and sometimes, especially with older homes, we go, man, that broken whatever, this or that, I'll take care of that when we get my taxes back, or
next week or next month,
or I need to put some money away so I can take care of this or that or the other. Well, when it comes to maintenance on the 5 major important things in insurance, and those 5 things are heating, wiring, plumbing, HVAC. I always leave one out. heating, cooling, plumbing, wiring, and HVAC. Those 5 things, if they are not maintained and you have a loss, it could be declined being covered if you don't maintain it, because then it goes into negligence. So whether that's something that harms somebody else's property, such as your tree falls into the neighbor's, and you didn't water that tree, and you knew you needed to water that tree, you could be forced to pay out of pocket if your tree falls on the neighbor's house, and you didn't maintain it. The insurance company might say you didn't do what you were required to do, because you do have a due diligence to maintain your property. So there's that. The other thing that a lot of people may not know about their insurance is, and this goes along with maintenance, old roofs. So it's very common that someone will say to me, when I'm working on their home insurance, I say, do you have an inspection? Did you get an inspection on the roof? And they'll say, yeah, the roof's still got 2 years on it, or they said I've got still, there's still 5 years left on the warranty, or I purchased a 20-year roof. Insurance never looks at that. It never, they don't want to know, they don't ask ask for a certificate from the roofer, the warranty from the roofer, none of that matters or means anything to the world of insurance. All that matters is the date. So every insurance company has their own rules on how old they will allow a roof to be. Average is 25 to 35 years. So most companies, if it's over 25, they're gonna be like, nope.
Regardless of the material.
Regardless of the material. So other than metal roofs, and those are on a case-by-case scenario, because metal roofs traditionally typically are good for 50 years. So we're most of the time, all of the other materials, it doesn't matter. If their guideline is 25 years, it's 25 years. If their guideline is 35 years, it's 35 years. With the caveat on the metal roofs, just because they, by nature, typically are good for about 50 years. But even then, I've seen insurance companies say, nope, it doesn't even matter. Our guideline is the roof cannot be older than 30 years old. So when you have that rule in place, you need to make sure that you're maintaining your roof and not letting it get too far out of its age. So it's very important to update the roof, because you're either surcharged for having an older roof or you're declined. And then if you're declined, then we have to approach another carrier. And you can be canceled as well.
Yeah.
Your policy comes up for renewal and they've caught wind that you didn't update your roof, and they cancel you because you're outside of their eligibility guidelines. And those guidelines are filed with the Department of Insurance, so they're not negotiable. They're whatever they say they are. If they say
you have to either meet them or
go. Yes. So those are my 5 things that most people don't know about their homeowners insurance policy.
Well, there you guys go. If you need any more information or if you have any questions, I will have Kelly's information down in the description, and we will see you next time for another video about landlord policies. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a good day, everybody. See ya.